Gravity by Michelle Seymour. Chapter 1. Normal London Girl. Jessie Harper is a beautiful 24-year-old London woman. She's 5 foot 8 inches tall, with long brown straight hair, light brown eyes, and a beautiful slim body. Over the past year, she's been dating her on and off again boyfriend Ian Morley. Ian is 23 years old, a real ladies' man, and he doesn't even try and hide it. Some would say he's a womanizer. He certainly loves the attention he gets from different women. But just one trip to Scotland changed Jessie's whole entire life, and she didn't even see it coming until it happened. It all began when Jessie received an invitation to an engagement party. Ian couldn't, wouldn't, or didn't want to attend the party. Being at Jessie's side and not being around other women was one of the reasons as to why. But maybe if he had attended with Jessie, things may have turned out very differently for her, or maybe what would have been. Who really knows? Jessie is just an ordinary London girl. She was born, raised, and lives in the south of London, to be precise in the borough of Southwark. Just like most of us, she rents a flat, nothing fancy or flashy, just a normal studio council first-floor flat. She also has a job of waitressing in a little cafe, not far from where she lives. She likes to live on a day-to-day basis, but within her means. She doesn't have debts from loans or credit cards and doesn't like the idea of owing big companies money. So, she saves for the things she likes and wants, rather than give the companies interest. Most of all, she enjoys her drama-free life, being left alone as she is happy in her own company. Most of her friends moved away to start their own families out of London. She can't afford to go out on big nights. Even a takeaway is classed as a treat for her after the bills and food were paid. But she loved doing what she wanted when she wanted to do it, with no one to tell her how to live her life. Mainly liking that she didn't have to answer anyone but herself. Today, Jessie is off for her trip for the weekend away, to enjoy the sights and sounds that Edinburgh has to offer. She had booked her train tickets months in advance for this adventure, saving extremely hard. She's catching the train from London King's Cross station. She doesn't drive and can't afford to either. She's not interested in driving anyway. Living in London, the public transport is not only cheaper, but also easier to get around. She arrives at King's Cross station by cab early in the morning, and Ian comes along with her to see her off. As they make their way through the busy entrance and onto her platform, Ian begins his goodbyes, already given her the excuses he needs, using the fact that he doesn't like Jessie's best friend Josh, the person who's throwing the party. But Josh detests Ian also, as he can see straight through Ian and the waste of spaceman that he is. Jessie hugs him with truly little hold and makes her way onto the train, taking her seat for the 4.5-hour journey into Edinburgh. But unknown to Jessie, this is the weekend that changes her life forever. After putting her luggage in the overhead and taking a seat on the train, Jessie puts in her AirPods and turns up the music, relaxing back into the chair as she watches the train pull away from the station and out of London, then begins to think about the life that she has and everything in it. How things have turned out like this for her. How does she truly feel about Ian? Their relationship is not a solid one, with Ian continuing to cheat, and she feels stupid for constantly taking him back, knowing that he can never really be faithful to her. It feels like she is more Ian's mother than anything else. He only comes back to her when he's cold and hungry, feeding her lines of love and forever. But Jessie is the ever-hopeless romantic, telling herself every time will be the last time that he cheats, or the last time she will forgive him. She takes a deep sigh, fed up that he always manages to worm his way back into her life and home. See, Ian is a real ladies' man, although part of him really can't help it. He generally doesn't know how to stay faithful to any woman. He has the iconic London accent, wears a baseball cap. Some would even say he is the original rude boy. For a 25-year-old, he acts as he doesn't want to leave his teenage years. He has no job and no talent, except to rely on Jessie for his needs, using sex and false promises to lure her in. By now, Jessie knows when it comes to him there is no love lost really. She knows she's stupid and a fool for constantly allowing him to walk all over her. She doesn't need someone to tell her the obvious. The fact is, does she want this for the rest of her life? Is this what the divine plan is for her? This scares her. But having no one in her life, all she has is Ian, and she doesn't want to be alone for the rest of her life. Ian is more of a comfort. She knows him well, and her thought is something is better than nothing, right? As she begins to see the countryside come into view through her window, with music still playing, she continues to think she wants more from life. She always felt she needed more. Where did she go wrong? What wrong path did she take? Mostly, this is not the life she envisioned for herself. What's next in her life? She just needs something good. The train pulls into Waverley Station hours later. Relieved, she steps onto the platform and inhales as she stretches her legs. Part of her to be glad to be out of London and a change of scenery. She's never visited Edinburgh before. Heck, she has never been out of London before today. She walks onto the busy high street with her suitcase, stopping a member of staff asking where the hotel is. Luckily, it's on the street she has come onto. So, the staff points towards it and Jessie makes her way through the crowded people, relieved when she is standing outside the entrance. Walking inside, she checks in and goes up to her basic room, where there's a bed, kettle, and TV, with a separate bathroom. But she doesn't care. She's finally here. After a quick look around and dropping her suitcase to the floor, she turns around, exiting her room, ready to explore Edinburgh in all its glory, taking a few hours to look at the parks and the castle on top of the hill. She sits down in one of the nearby cafes, ordering some dinner, getting rid of the thoughts she once had before and taking in this weekend, and the enjoyment and stress-free fun that's coming. After her dinner, she returns to the hotel, jumping in the bath and then into bed, relaxing after a day of travel and the dealings of life, enjoying her time to be free as she slowly and comfortably slides into slumber. The following morning, Jessie wakes up and gets out of bed. Opening her small suitcase, she throws on a pair of jeans and a jumper. She makes her way into the dining area for a quick breakfast before she goes off for some clothes shopping, before she has to meet Josh by the train station this afternoon. She begins to look around the high street searching for the perfect dress for the party she wanted to make this weekend about her, so she saved to buy her dress here, like a memory of her time in Scotland. While window shopping, a dress catches her eye in one of the small shops down a small road just off the high street. Walking up to the dress, Jessie falls in love with it at first sight. It's low cut, short to the thighs, black, and every bit of it sparkles but not overdoing it. With its thin black spaghetti straps, she can't peel her eyes away from it, especially because it has matching shoes and purse on display with it. With a huge smile, Jessie can't help but think to herself,
"This is it. I want this. It's meant for me."
Without any hesitation, she enters the shop, just for this dress and accessories. Once inside, she asks the woman politely if she could try it on. The woman responded with a nod and a smile, walking over and getting the dress in Jessie's size. Jessie slides into the changing room, putting it on. She can feel the light, soft fabric slide down her skin, pleased at the feel of it on her. She looks in one of the mirrors and twirls around with a smile on her face, feeling like Cinderella before the ball. After 10 minutes, she takes the dress off and practically runs towards the till with a smile on her face, now even more excited for the party. This was the first time in a long while that Jessie had brought herself something new to wear, and it felt just like the right time to do this. This was more about just a simple party. It was Josh's party, which meant to her that it was doubly important. Being his best friend also meant looking the part and fitting in. Josh had moved up here from London a few months ago to be with Amy, his now soon-to-be wife. He had left everything behind on the whim of true love, and it had worked for him. Jessie knows without a doubt if she asked him if it was worth it, he would respond 100% it was. As the party wasn't until Sunday night, she agreed to meet up with Josh so they could have some friend time before the madness. Plus, Josh was excited to show her around, and Jessie was just as thrilled to be shown the sights by a now expert. That afternoon, she begins to walk up to the station and sees Josh standing there in his 5 foot, 10 inches glorious shine. She smiles when approaching him. It's not hard for her to miss him with his short black hair, slim-toned body, and a tan to his skin with his light brown eyes shining like a man in love. They hug each other tightly, and it's not hard to see they missed each other immensely. They then begin to walk away and head in the direction of Edinburgh Castle and begin to walk around it, both smiling as Jessie still takes in the amazing views of the city from the walls. Luckily, she's not afraid of heights as she watches the cars, buses, and people below. Smiling, feeling free from the strains of life, she asks him if he misses London. Josh shakes his head and replies without thinking about it.
Nope, not even the smallest amount.
They leave the castle and begin to walk along the Royal Mile, as Josh explains that he loves Scotland and considers it to be his home, that no amount of money would make him return to London. Just as he finishes, Jessie can hear bagpipes and follows the sound, finding a Scottish man standing on the corner of the street in a kilt and all the Scottish attire. She's amazed as she stands there listening and watching him play. This place is like another world. The people here are not rushing or the least bit abusive. They just go with the stride of life and letting things be as they are. Josh drags her away with a smile, and they move further on down the mile until they are standing in front of a high church. Standing side by side, Josh nudges her.
That's St. Giles Cathedral. Amazing, isn't it? I know you have a thing for old buildings.
Jessie stands there still with her head looking up to the top of the building as she replies with a huge goofy smile.
Yeah, it really is something.
He continues to tell her with love and happiness as she studies the building.
I'm home now, Jess. I know you miss me, and I miss you. But this is where I belong now.
She brings her head down to face his with a slight smile.
Edinburgh is a gorgeous city, and you do look happy here. I'm glad you are Josh. I really am.
They smile at each other and begin to walk again as Josh tells her all the reasons why it's a better place to live, explaining more importantly that he will never return to England, even if things don't work out with Amy. As the evening comes in, they both stroll along back towards the station, Josh looking over to it with a smile on his face, which Jessie notices instantly.
Josh, you okay?
He looks back at Jessie with the same soppy smile.
I'm meeting a friend here. Hope you don't mind. He's taking us for dinner.
Josh looks up and waves his arm. Jessie looks over and sees a man waving back. As they approach the man, Joshman hugs him and then looks over to Jessie.
Jess, this is Alex. He's one of my close friends here.
Jessie leans in, putting her arm out to shake his hand.
Hi, Alex. Jess, the actual best friend.
Alex keeps his smile and pulls her in quickly for a kiss on the cheek. Obviously, this man spotted Jessie and likes what he sees in front of him, wasting no time in flirting with her.
You all right there, beautiful?
She smiles as she really takes Alex in. He's the same height as Josh, short blonde hair. He has obviously gelled, but it's his sparkling gray eyes that take her in, leaving her a little breathless, wanting her to find out what's beneath the suit he's wearing. She can't help not wanting to move her eyes from his. It's like everyone around them have disappeared. Josh watches them both with a cheeky smile and then claps his hands together quickly, bringing both of them back to reality.
So, I thought a bit of dinner. Then you and me Jesse would carry on the tour with St. Andrew's Square next on the list. Sound good?
Jesse nods with a smile as they begin to walk across the road, with Alex on one side of her and Josh on the other.
Yep, lead the way. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let alone where I'm going, lead me astray.
Alex looks over to her, giving a side smile and winks, then out of nowhere puts one of his arms around her shoulder, while bluntly telling her flirtatiously,
Tell you what, beautiful. You can lead me astray anytime and anywhere you want. What I wouldn't give to get to know my way around you.
He gives her body a once-over, looking her up and down, making sure she knows what he's getting at, then looks over to Josh on the other side of her.
Dinner is definitely on me tonight, mate. I know you said she was a beauty, but feck me, you never mentioned her stunning body.
Jesse leans into Josh's ear and whispers.
What did you tell him?
Josh smiles back at her as he leans into her ear.
I like him. For one, he ain't Ian. Give him a chance. You're in Scotland. What happens in Edinburgh stays in Edinburgh. Have some fun, relax, and enjoy.
She smiles back at him, correcting him.
That's Vegas, you idiot.
Laughing, Josh tells her.
Tomato, tomato.
But what she doesn't know is that Josh had actually set her up on this date. Alex was well aware of it. The only one who hasn't got a clue is Jessie herself. Josh thought they are well suited in every way possible, and all he has ever wanted is for Jessie to love her life. He had a niggling feeling after they met that this was their destiny, like he could see the future. It would be their own happily ever after. When they walk the square, Alex takes them into a restaurant not far from there. They enter and Alex gets them a table, taking them over, while lightly placing his hand on the small of Jessie's back. At the table, he even pulls the chair back for her, like a gentleman. As they sit down around the table and place their orders, Alex can barely remove his eyes from her the entire time, even when he's talking to Josh. Jessie begins to blush, feeling the heat on her cheeks over the attention that Alex is making no qualms trying to hide. Seeing the pair of them, Josh tells them his phone is vibrating and that he needs to take this call as he's been waiting for it. He then stands up from the table and walks outside, leaving them both at the table alone. Coming back a few minutes later, he stands at the table and looks down at Jessie in her chair. With a regretful voice tells her,
Sorry, but I have to leave. Things that are last minute before the party. Hope you don't mind. But unfortunately, we are going to have to cut this short.
Jessie goes to stand up, but Alex interjects.
It's okay, mate. I'll show Jessie around town. I've got nothing going on, if you're okay with that.
Alex looks at Jessie as she slowly sits down and nods her head with a smile.
Yeah, that's fine. Go, Josh. Do what you need to do. I have Alex here.
Alex mumbles quickly.
You sure do.
Josh smiles and leans down, kissing Jessie on the forehead. Standing back up, he says,
Okay, well in that case I'm off. Oh. And just don't forget Arthur's seat tomorrow, and bring your trainers.
He chuckles as she looks up at him, confused.
What in the hell is Arthur's seat?
Still chuckling, he tells her.
It's a mountain. Well, it's an extinct volcano, really. It's an uphill trek. I won't lie to you. But it's the best place to view all of Edinburgh from. You will love it.
He turns and leaves the restaurant. There was no big emergency. He could see how they were looking at each other at the table and wanted to give them some space alone without him being there. As he leaves, Josh can hear them chatting away, and it brings a smile to his face. 10 minutes later, Alex gets Jessie up from the chair and leads her outside of the restaurant and into the evening's cool air. Standing next to her, Alex puts his hand out for Jessie to hold with a gleaming smile. She looks back at him as he tells her,
To be continued.